Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijender Singh Tawar, Associate Professor in English. Presently, I have been posted at Government College, Guda. In the series of video lectures which are being prepared by me, this video is meant for the students of BA Part First. Subject English Literature, Paper First, and the topic on which we are having a discussion in this video is a poem by George Herbert entitled The Pully, and we will discuss the critical appreciation of the poem. First of all, let us know about the poet. The poet is George Herbert, who was born in 1593 and died in 1633. He lived a very short life of just, we can say, 40 years. But he, during the lifespan of 40 years, he was able to do something that he is even remembered after 400 years, we can say. He was a contemporary of John Donne and Robert Herrick. John Donne, as you know, is a famous metaphysical poet, and he is famous for conceit. About conceit, we should have a clear idea so that we can understand this poem, because the whole poem revolves around a single conceit of the pulley. In conceit, the poet uses an image in which there is similarities are less, dissimilarities are more. For example, John Donne, in one of his poems, compared the husband and wife with the 2 feet of the compass. The lover or the poet has to go abroad, so he tells his wife that you are the fixed foot of the compass who lives in the country, and I am the moving foot of the compass and I am going abroad. If you will remain faithful, our circle will be good, and if you will try to do anything inappropriate, our circle will not be a good one. That is, if we see that he has compared husband and wife, that is lover and beloved, with the 2 feet of the compass, with no living things. There are many conceits. So George Herbert, who lived in that age, who was a contemporary of John Donne, he has also used certain conceits also. George Herbert was a religious person. He was a clergyman, and he wrote deeply religious poems. His poems are remarkable for their colloquial diction and rhythms. That is conversation. He is writing in very simple language, simple rhythm. They are, however, not as simple as they appear to be. Means they contain a hidden meaning also. They remind the reader of the poems of John Donne. They are full of strange images and conceits. Now, if we talk about the poem The Pully by George Herbert is a religious metaphysical poem which centers on the pulley as a prime conceit in the poem. The poet wants to unveil the truth that why human beings are so restless and unsatisfying despite having all the things they want. Means human beings have everything, but they are not satisfied. What is the reason behind it? The poet in this poem tries to give the answer of this question. The poem begins with the speaker stating that he is retelling the story of creation. He is particularly interested in the part where God gives humankind knowledge, wisdom, beauty, and strength. These are important features of human existence that flowed easily from God to humankind. That is a poem. Begins with a mythological story. According to Christian mythology, God created everything, and in the end, He created man, and then He gave certain blessings to men, such as knowledge, wisdom, beauty, strength. So the poet is interested or is pinpointing that part of creation. There is one blessing that God did not let out of His cup, and that is rest. He chose to withhold an innate ability to rest from humankind in order to keep His creation close to Him. This is the, you can say, reason of the poet why God did not give human beings rest when He gave everything. When one gets weary, he turns to God, or that is his reasoning. The poet states that God did not want humanity to love nature more than they love the God of nature. The idea is, it was the aim of God that mankind should love God. They should not get satisfied with all the creation created by God. They should always remember God. The speaker begins the poem by describing the creation of mankind. He is seeking to retell the Christian story of creation with a few added details. According to Christian mythology, first God created this thing, that thing, etc. And He is concentrating on the time when God has created everything and also man, and He had a glass. In that glass, all the blessings were there, and He wanted to give to mankind. At that point is chosen by the poet. The speaker is able to describe what God was thinking and feeling when He decided to make humanity. God saw what He had made and decided to pour a glass of blessing on mankind. These blessings were just standing by in a cup or a glass, waiting to be used. This speaks to the ease of God's access to forces separate from human understanding. Means God was so powerful that He was able to separate humankind and with blessings. And He has also the power to give blessing to mankind. This fact will become important later on in the text when God decides to withhold a blessing without a second thought. The poet says that after God made this universe, He gathered all the blessings of the world in a glass and distributed them to human beings one after the other. First, He gave the strength. The first blessing which came out of that glass was strength. And of the strength, human became strong enough to survive. One by one, God gave them the beauty, wisdom, honor, pleasure, and many other things. He continued giving. When almost all was gone, means when everything was given, God kept rest at the bottom of the glass, thinking that both should losers be if the rest is given. God thought that if this blessing is given to mankind, then man will be away from God and both will be losers. God will lose its creation and creation will lose its creator, that is God. So rest as a blessing equal to beauty and strength is interesting. It is not something that one might immediately think of as a feature of life that can be given or granted. But in this narrative, it is the treasure that remains at the bottom of God's cup. He chooses not to give it to humanity. His reasoning behind this choice is contained within the next two stanzas. The speaker describes how it was God's choice to not bestow rest to humanity. He knew that if He did so, then He would adore my gifts instead of me. That is, if God has given human being rest, then man would have started worshipping, adoring things created by God, not God Himself. The poet thinks that God made this choice because he didn't want humankind spending their days worshipping nature. Instead, they should be appreciating the God of nature. Rest is not something that is an integral part of human life. God made an informed at least to him. It is a kind of information given to at least human beings, the choice to withhold it. The speaker finishes up God's reasoning behind this choice not to give humanity a complete life of rest. He doesn't want humanity to never rest, but there should be different periods. If human beings get complete rest or satisfaction, he will be a different creature. It is ideal for everyone to rest until they feel restless. Then they should get back to their lives. God believes that if there is weariness in one's everyday life, then that feeling of exhaustion will toss humankind to his place. That is, will compel human beings to go into the lap of God. These different periods of activity, exhaustion, rest, rejuvenation are just as integral to human existence as are strength and wisdom. It seems that Herbert's God has chosen to add them for a reason that appears entirely selfish. Though it appears that God is very selfish, he wants that he should be worshipped, not other things. It is not clear, at least through these few lines of reasoning, how weariness helps humanity side from forcing them closer to God. The poem comprises 4 stanzas of similar construction. In each, the first and the last lines are short iambic trimeters that are 3 metrical feet or iambs per line. The 3 middle lines are broadly iambic pentameters that are with 5 metrical feet per line. There is a regular ABABA rhyme scheme throughout. That is, first line, third line, and fifth line rhymes with each other, and second and fourth rhyme with each other. The opening line works as an introduction to the next stage of Herbert's argument. The middle section expands it, and the final line concludes or provides the twist. The voice is that of a third-party narrator speculating on God's thoughts when creating the world. The tone is thoughtful and intelligent, and the conceit or metaphor that of Pully that draws humans to God is inventive and original. In conclusion, it may be said that the poem, The Pully, is based on the idea that God pulls humans towards himself with the pulley of restlessness. Just as we can pull anything which is away by force with the help of pulley, the same is the case for the conceit used in this poem, pulley of restlessness. This is the restlessness which automatically compelled human beings to go into the lap of God. This concept has been explained by a conceit. The conceit revolves around the pulley. The poet has used it to depict humanity's restless nature and the reason why human beings are incapable of being satisfied. When considering this conceit, think about the way that a pulley creates force and leverage. God kept rest to himself in order to always be able to pull mankind back. But this choice means humankind is continually running from place to place seeking out satisfaction. The poem exhibits a strange but two-way relation between God and his worshipper. And the poet has achieved his purpose in a masterly manner.